Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Academy class. So this morning we're going to be looking more into psychic development and management. So this is basically looking into the abilities that we have and starting to develop a little bit more of a, kind of a direction, a flow, a guidance, and management representing to psychic ability. We're also going to be looking into grounding energies and energetic balance. Then we're going to be doing some demonstration readings, so mediumship, psychic ability, etc. That will be coming in through there. And then we'll have an open Q&A time, so if there are any questions anybody has in regards to what we discussed today or through anything else, by all means feel free to share. So what we're going to go ahead and do first is we're going to begin with our meditation. So let's get ourselves nice and comfortable, making sure our body is free of any points of strain. And you can go ahead now and close your eyes. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. Once again, deep breath in through the nose and out to the mouth. Keeping the breath nice and steady, breathing in through the nose and out to the mouth. And one last time, breathing in through the nose and out to the mouth. And just relax yourselves and breathe normally. And just bring your hand or your hands to your heart. And just feeling that connection with you now. Just feeling the energy of the heart space. And just bringing yourself now to center, bringing yourself to neutrality, and feeling that energy now. Just harmonizing together with love. Just giving this chance now to check in with yourself, not to have any expectations, but just to be present here and now, and to tune in deeply to the heart, to be one with its feelings, and to be one with its love. And just any particular forms of feelings or thoughts that you feel do not serve, just let yourself, yes, be aware of them, but feel that they are now just drifting in the background so that you can stay within this area, within your own inner circle of love and of connection to spirit. And as you now connect back into your being, connect back into your body, let yourself set an intention forward in regards to what it is that you would like to experience today, representing feeling, representing intention of goal, whatever it may be. Just let yourself be open, free, and joyful based on everything that represents the day today. Let it be a day that complements you. Let it be a day that serves you and brings you into that love space as it does now with your heart. Once again, take a deep breath in through our nose and slowly out through our mouth. We're just kind of wriggle out our hands, wriggle out our fingers, wriggle out our toes. It's like we're waking up from a dream. When you're ready, you may feel free to open your eyes. Okay. So we're going to move on now to our daily affirmations. So I'll go ahead and get started and move from Celissa and all the way down to Anne. So for my affirmation this morning, I realized that my dreams can be very, very intense and very, very vivid, and in that sense somewhat feel quite intimidating. But I realize that there's a message behind those dreams that is attempting to share itself with me, despite any particular type of analogy or parallel reality, to help me understand more of myself that will bring me into divine clarity. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Celissa for her affirmation.
Hi all. I acknowledge that I've been reaching perhaps too much in terms of my connecting instead of just allowing for them to do the work as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution is to let it go.
Okay, all right, that's great. Thank you very much, Celissa. All right, let's move on to Jason.
I acknowledge that Celicia's is very good, and mine should be as good. Well, I mean, I acknowledge that there is a natural flow and rhythm to the growth and expansion, and I also need to continue to stay in the now in the heart space and let things happen as they are divinely planned to happen.
Good. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Jason. All right, let's move on to Gail.
Hi. I acknowledge I let things bother me, but I realize that if I ask Spirit to guide me and go with the flow, I will be more in the flow with Divine Spirit and all is well.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Gail. All right, let's move on to David.
Hi, I acknowledge that I have been eating processed food and unbalanced diet, and I realize that it helped me to discern my preference and to embrace and transcend any kind of mental limit.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, David. I'm guilty of that as well, too. Like, in the past, I've been quite the processed food guy. Not so much anymore, but I certainly was like that. Like, I was even getting so gross as to eat McDonald's, so that was pretty nasty. Toxic waste, but... But, you know, you have to go through all that stuff to realize that, you know, this is basically what it's doing to your body. This is how it's affecting you. This is how it's affecting your mood. And then you have that, you know, compulsion to move into higher light. So, absolutely. So, very good. Thank you so much, dude. All right, let's move on to Anne.
I acknowledge that I want to move faster than is actually beneficial to me. I want instant manifestations. When I see something, a project or a path I'm excited about, I'm in a hurry to get there. And I see the benefits and lessons of moving within divine timing because there are blessings along the way that I would have totally missed had I jumped straight into the manifestation.
Yes, exactly. No, I know what you mean, Tim. I get those feelings as well. I just wanted to have everything just instant gratification. Come here, come here, come here, do this, do that. Let's have everything together at once. And fortunately, the universe says, you know, you're asking for too many things at the same time. Ground yourself, let yourself center. These things will come in pretty quickly, but you just have to give yourself the lesson of patience. Again, just being able to stay the course and just letting the energy come through without any expectations involved. So again, very good affirmation there as well. Okay, great guys, thank you so much. So why don't we go ahead now and we're going to move on to our positive, powerful water affirmation. So feel free now to have your glass of water. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows exactly what to do, so I don't need to go too much discourse with the water. So feel free to grab your water and place either your symbol or just a straight thought intention into your water. And we'll do this for 1 minute. So here we go. Great. So we'll come back into the moment. It was very interesting. During that affirmation, I was actually just having a conversation with a parallel version of myself. It was quite interesting because I was basically asking, just maintaining a good health, getting in really good shape, toning the body, etc. And I just saw this other version of me, kind of like feeling like he was walking into my consciousness. And he was like showing me, kind of like doing like this. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, this is basically what you're going to become. He says, just keep doing your yoga, keep doing all your physical exercises, and you're eventually going to become me. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So that was kind of a little interesting experience, just having this parallel self kind of walk into my consciousness. So, very nice. That can happen, definitely. And I think that's really, again, another good example of when a person, or when you're basically setting an intention, you're kind of already seeing this version of yourself walking into your room, walking into your space. And if it's financial abundance, you're saying maybe yourself in like a nice suit or whatever it may be. Maybe they hand you a bank statement saying, hey, here's how much is in your bank. Whoa, okay, what do I have to do? Well, here's what you have to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So you can simply invite that in. That's basically the parallel self-affirmation, bringing that particular energy in with you. So that was actually the first time that's happened, just seeing this parallel version of me walking into my, kind of like my mind space, so to speak, and just saying, this is exactly what you're going to become. Keep doing the course. Here's the energy vibration in the water to help you stay that course. So again, very, very powerful stuff. So how was that for everybody else? Everybody else good?
Oh, it's very good. Hey, Brad, may I ask on this exact same topic?
Yeah.
So I once saw myself, right, in like a mirror, and it was a future version. I guess it was a future version of myself. I felt it was the same kind of scenario because I think I had been doing an affirmation regarding connecting with my future self and seeing myself as my future self, or my higher self.
Right.
And I literally I looked right directly in the eyes of a different version of myself. Same kind of scenario.
Yeah. Did he say anything to you?
No, I mean it was a mirror. It was a mirror, and I looked directly into the mirror, and I saw
a different version of yourself.
Yeah, and it was me. I mean, he was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful being, but it was I was looking. It was a lionesque, super muscular being, but he's beautiful, and it was me. It was an amazing experience. So
very good. Yeah. So that basically does represent some type of contact, some type of connection. So there is something about that particular being that is kind of shining into you at that time. So it's basically saying, here's the kind of radiance that I represent that you're seeing to yourself. And so it's kind of like just like that two-way mirror effect. So it feels like there's some type of relationship that was happening at that time for that being to come through. So yeah, it feels like something very, very powerful, very special. That may just represent, your divinity that may come through. It all depends in regards to how you see the being and how they appear to you. They may have looked very divine. They may have looked very spiritually mature, etc. They may look somewhat extraterrestrial in that sense. That can just represent another parallel being that's coming through and is grounding that energy of what they, bring out of you relating to relationship and attempting to harmonize that within your beings.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was amazing, similar to what you had.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's been experiences like that where people just basically see it can be mirrors, or it can just be a person walking out in the street and they actually just see a future version of themselves walking down the street, maybe winking them at them or something like that. Yeah, that happens. Our world is just amazingly incredible. We have all kinds of different phenomena. People have told me all kinds of things. If I was to basically go through my list of what people have told me, people would think, oh my God, Brad, you must be like the ultimate sci-fi writer or something, right? So there's all kinds of things that people have shared with me that have just really been mind-blowing. And I've actually seen elements of that in my own life as well too. I've seen pictures of ETs. Actually, I have pictures that I can't really share publicly because if I did that, then I could get in a lot of trouble. But there's been pictures that people have given me about grays in the backyard. There's actually this one picture I have. I can describe it, I just can't show it, of a little gray being that's actually kind of just peeking behind a tree like this. And this is actually taken in one of my friend's cousin's backyard. And he was just kind of peeking. It was like a very, very thin tree. And he was just kind of peeking his head out like this. And a small little guy. I was actually able to read the little guy. He was actually a soulful being. He actually does have a soul. And he was actually kind of a very friendly being. friendly little gray, so to speak. But it's just things like that, and as well as many other things. But people who have been visited, who have had beings like levitate them out of bed and have them pass through walls. Other people who have seen parallel versions of themselves. Other people who have been on board ships and seeing feline humans actually having like a syringe, and the syringe actually contained this guy's semen and stuff like that. And all this stuff. It's just it's amazing stuff. But it just gets so powerful and so amazing about all these people that have had these really unique experiences. And you know what, you guys, you're not alone. There's so many people out there that have had some really incredible experiences. There's also another guy right now who, in his own physical body, is transforming into a mantis being. Right? He's actually able to bend his arm, kind of like a mantis, and all that. So it's
cool.
Oh yeah, man, it's insane, right? But it's exactly what's happening. That's what's happening to the world. There's so much on this planet that's happening that we just don't realize. It's a world we never thought existed. It's great. It's a magic world. It really is. Okay, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to that was a good segue, by the way. Going into psychic development, psychic development and management. Okay. So with the psychic development and management today, this is basically just helping us to, again, kind of moving somewhat into grounding the energies and performing energetic balancing. But with our psychic development, we notice that we have all this particular phenomena that is happening in our daily lives. We may start walking down the street. We start having these strong, clear empathy flashes. We start getting thoughts into our mind. We start getting emotions that really do not belong to us. And it's just basically flooding us. If we're walking down the street, there's hundreds of people. It's kind of like being around white noise, and that certainly has happened to me at times, where I just kind of feel this, apparition of white, dense noise, walking through like a mall or just walking down the street. And so the whole idea is that whatever we're experiencing, whether it be visions or clairaudience or clair sentience, clear empathy, etc., we're just basically attempting to develop our psychic abilities so that it serves. So if we're noticing that there's times where we get overwhelmed by psychic abilities, a lot of it really has to do with coming back into center and basically just staying in your own space. It's not always saying that you have to, grin and bear it and, just do what you can to, focus your energy, etc. There are certainly techniques that you can utilize to help, keep yourself very centered, just so you can regain yourself, bring yourself back into a nice balanced flow. So basically, again, is there anybody here that has had those kind of issues, that have had, just walking down the street and they feel like they've gotten bombarded with thoughts, or just get hit, they sometimes get headaches and migraines with these particular forms of psychic intrusions?
That happens. I need to ground myself.
Oh, sorry, Gail, your microphone cut out a bit there. You said that happened?
Yeah, that happens to me frequently, and
Okay.
It's pretty much more powerful on days that I forget to ground myself.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Anybody else? Does anybody else kind of feel that kind of sensation?
It happens to me, yes, with because I work with clients all day, so I pick up their thoughts. So all of a sudden, I'll realize, because I'm a reflexologist, I'll be working on their feet. I'll have thoughts that aren't mine. Things will come through my head that I would never think, and it took me a while to realize that those weren't mine. And if someone comes in with intense anxiety or something, I'll start picking it up if I'm not really careful. But I've also, in the very beginning when I started this work, would take people's pain, and I would get very sick, and I had to learn to not allow that to come into me.
Right.
They would go home feeling better, but I would be very sick for a while.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know exactly what you mean. That is certainly. David, did you say you had a question?
No, I just want to share that sometimes I also feel the mental barriers of the people that I am talking with in the moment without the intention of knowing them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel also the physical distortions, but it's just that I don't go too much profound into their feelings without permission. Mm-hmm. But I will always feel like the principal barriers, the root barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, that's good as well. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different things that we get, especially when we're very psychically open. Really what it is just to be psychically open is really to have that kind of open heart. We really have a very open heart. Our heart is open very, very wide, and we're very, very sensitive to feelings because we're getting used to our own. So the whole key here is that if you're noticing that you're getting imbalanced based upon some of these bombardments of thoughts, there's several different methods that we can look at. One particular method is what's known as the list. Okay. Now the list is basically just about 5 to 10 identifiable keywords that help you stay within your own grounded state, that actually help you stay within your own level of thoughts. Now these particular keywords are in that sense very positive, very beneficial, and they're personally yours. And so you're basically just kind of chanting these particular keywords within your mind whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. They're helping you to come back into center, they're helping you stay within your own mind, they're helping you stay within your own thoughts, your own patterns. So if I was to look at the idea of a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say patience, I would say love, I would say peace, I would say violet, maybe violet light is something that's very, very strong to me, and I would say, let me say, connection. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything like this. These would just be 5 example words, for example, that would really represent the depth of my mind, of my own particular psyche, of my own inner being. And so whenever I'm feeling like I'm getting bombarded by these thoughts, just kind of close your eyes for a moment. Maybe you have to kind of step into a corner. Just kind of close your eyes for a moment and just go through this list. Patience, love, violet, etc. And just kind of feeling those particular keywords because they're helping you to actually ground back into your own thoughts. So this is something that's just basically a little centering technique, a little grounding technique as well, where you can just basically bring yourself back into the moment. Where you feel that this person may come through, he may be sitting down with you and talking, and all of a sudden you're getting these bombardments of thoughts, feeling that, okay, I'm going to cheat on my wife, or I want a hamburger for dinner, oh, I need to put gas in the car, etc., etc. You may get those kind of thoughts, right? So when that happens, you're just basically putting yourself into center space and just going through your list, just starting to say it out loud. It's kind of like a chant that you're putting, love, peace, tranquility, violet, etc. And just letting yourself come back into your own thoughts. That keeps yourself in center. Another second method that you could use, besides the list, is doing what's known as chakra inversion. So this is basically where you're just going through the colors of the rainbow, from red all the way to violet, and you're just imagining that if these rays are shooting out in your reality from front and from behind, you're now just imagining that you're turning the lens, and that the lens is now shooting back within you. And you're actually just inverting the particular chakra centers to actually have these colored lights focus entirely on you. Now again, this is kind of a temporary means. This is something that doesn't really last that long. It's something where you're basically just taking those chakra centers and you're flipping them, and you're inverting them back into having the light penetrate your being rather than that. So chakras are basically responsible for being able to pick up other particular forms of bands of thoughts and other things, and other forms of frequencies in dimensional reality. So you're basically just feeling that flip. You're flipping all these chakra centers all around. Again, just going through the spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, aquamarine, blue, violet, and just letting all of those energies invert and coming back into your own particular focus. And this just helps to kind of catch your breath. It's again very temporary, and it will start to naturally flip itself back out again, but it's just giving yourself a chance to center. Now, these are in that sense kind of protection forms, and again, they're very, very temporary. These are not meant to be permanent forms of guides for you, but if you are feeling very overwhelmed, then using something like the list, using something like chakra inversion. There's also crystal shields, that people can use as well too. But again, these are all just protection protocol forms. And really what we're attempting to do here is not feeling that we need to go into the escape of protection, but we want to make sure that we are, in that sense, being able to develop our psychic ability so that it's working together for us, rather than feeling that it's basically trying to be a burden and feeling that we're picking up everybody's thoughts. And so this is basically, again, the key to this is actually very intense meditation. It's just keeping yourself in a steadiness of thoughts, because the only reason we're actually picking up thoughts is because, in a way, our own mind wanders, it fragments. And so we're actually getting these fragmentations of thoughts based upon our own concerns, our own intentions, our own goals, whatever it may be. We're just basically shooting off all these different branches, all these different cords, and they are coming back to us in regards to the energies of thoughts that come from others. And so the whole key here is just being able to really, spend time with developing your own psychic ability and letting it feel that you're in a state of flow. You do have the capability to have your psychic ability turned on and your psychic ability turned off. When you have it turned off, that just means that you're in your own mind. You're just keeping yourself completely in your own space. You're keeping yourself aligned with all the tendencies, with everything that represents your reality. You're keeping it all contained within a space. It does not have to go shooting off. So the whole idea is really about containment. This is why in a lot of the old days, a lot of like ancient monks or a lot of mystics in that sense actually wore black hoods and black robes, because they wanted to conceal a lot of their own thoughts. They wanted to conceal a lot of them themselves from actually having kind of eye contact with people, because that's how they'll get hit with these particular forms of thought bombardments. So they'll dress themselves up in like black robes, and they'll have these black hoods. I actually had an ex-girlfriend who was just amazingly psychic. She wouldn't be able to go outside unless she put a hood on. And she did that because that was concealing her. It's basically going back to the Indian belief as well too, that a turban actually helps block the crown chakra from being accessed. So you're actually protecting the crown chakra with a turban, right? The same thing goes with hoods. Hoods basically represent the concealment. You're not looking at people in the eye. You're keeping your energy concealed so that your thoughts are your own. That doesn't mean you have to go out and do that with hoods, for example. But that is basically just a lot of ancient cultures that would do that, to basically keep their energies very much contained within their own psychic self. So all we're basically doing is we're just meditating, and we're utilizing the best way that we know in a way to allow these energies to stay within our center, to kind of keep ourselves grounded and keeping ourselves stable. So if you're noticing that you're going outside and you're getting hit and blasted again, you can try these, absolutely. Try a chakra inversion, try the list, try a crystal shield, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But just also spend time working with yourself. If you can imagine that those thoughts are being bombarded by you, bring the cords back into yourself. Say that I am owning my power, and I'm not feeling that I need to drift my power off and getting all these bombardments of thoughts. And this is basically what happens, is that little seeps of our power start getting branched off, anchored off, corded off into other people, and this is how we're able to pick up their particular transmissions. And it is actually only certain people that we can actually access thoughts. There are some people that are really well disciplined, that are really well mannered, that they actually cannot have thoughts projected, simply because they have balanced themselves very accordingly. So all we're basically attempting to say is that there's something about those particular people that are blasting their thoughts back at us, because there's something about us and our thoughts that are in relationship. They're on the same bandwidth. So it's like tuning a radio dial. So we get a radio signal, bam, all of a sudden we're getting hit with these thoughts. We try and alter it, we get hit with other thoughts, right? So we try and keep ourselves at a center point that does not need to be attuned to other people's thoughts. So we're keeping ourselves in that kind of self-band. We're centering ourselves. We're bringing all that energy back into ourselves. We're owning our power. We're keeping ourselves very, very contained. So that's the whole idea. Again, it's not about always having to keep your psychic abilities contained, because if there is somebody who you want to assist, then you want to keep yourself open. But it is okay to absolutely feel reserved about your psychic ability. If you're feeling that you're being blasted, you have more than a right to come into bringing those energies back into yourself and keeping yourself centered. Actually, one of the worst things that can happen, so to speak, is when a person is being constantly blasted all day long and then has to go do a reading afterwards, because they're moody, they're miserable, they have all these contaminated thought forms around them. Oh my God, I want a cheeseburger. Oh my God, the car needs gas. Oh my God, my wife thinks I'm cheating on me, blah, 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 right? All these things, right? It can be very, very challenging to center. It can be a dirty world. So it's just being able to look into yourself and being able to regain that particular power. If you notice that a thought is coming into your mind that is not your own, just ask it to leave. You're just being able to dismiss it, saying, you're not my thought, you don't belong here, see you later, right? That's something that helps as well too. Again, when there's bombardments of thoughts, utilizing this is great, but again, it's just important to stay in your power, and that's how you bring your power back, by just knowing that there's certain thoughts in your mind that are not your own, saying, nope, sorry, you don't belong here, on your way, you're dismissed, right? That's it. And you can basically just tell these thoughts to leave. All they're attempting to do is that they're hovering, and that we're trying to give some type of identity. As soon as we create identity to a thought, it latches on. If we realize and say, no, that's not my thought, you can go now, you're dismissed, phew, goes away, right? So this is basically just how we're re-anchoring our particular power. Thoughts will not be forcibly intrusive. They're just hovering. They're like little bubbles. You have those little bubble blowers. You're blowing bubbles in the air. That's all they are. They're just blowing these bubbles in the air. People are projecting them because they don't have disciplined minds. They don't know how to contain themselves. There are people who are just so extrovertial. They just throw those thought forms all over the place. This is exactly why there's other particular beings that come around and try to clear up the thought forms that are actually all around the city streets. This happens. You can certainly do that. You can certainly help to rearrange the thought forms, basically just telling the thought forms, go home. Thought forms, go home. There's nobody here that you need to belong to, go home, right? And so they can actually be transmuted back into source. Those thoughts will always exist in some reality, but it doesn't mean that the forms that are programmed by a certain individual's consciousness still need to hang around. They can be forgiven and they can be dismissed. So the same thing happens with you. You're capable of dismissing these particular thought forms within your mind just by knowing, again, like the list, knowing areas about your particular thought forms that you carry that help you identify yourself is the key to helping you identify what particular thoughts don't belong so that they can then be dismissed. So that's a particular type of level of psychic management there. Any questions on that?
Can I make a small comment, Brett? My experience is almost more with online, like posting things, and it's all kind of brainy, intellectual type stuff. Like when I post something, I know it's at a certain level, and if it's at too high a level, I'll then immediately know. It's kind of like doubts. I'll know all the different perspectives that other people may have on that, and I hear, in a way, in my mind, just all these different viewpoints on my viewpoint, because it's all relative, and I can go up and down the intellectual scale. So then I hear these like 20 different views on my thought, which are a different perspective than it. So normally, what I often do, for what it's worth, is I do something very much like your list. I do have my kind of affirmations. They're my default ones, that are my centering ones, and I always go back to those. And it normally does a pretty good job at just getting me back to myself. However, sometimes, if they keep coming in, I'll just delete the post. Not necessarily the best way, but then once I delete it, I'm like, okay, well, now those thoughts aren't coming anymore. But
no, that's true. And that's kind of, again, kind of like the symbology about what's happening with thoughts as well, too, because you notice that, you post one post and then there'll be 100 replies coming together. All those particular replies, they can either serve you or don't. It's all up to you. You can either take all those replies and delete them. It's up to you. It's all basically showing exactly how thoughts are branched. And so when we're looking at the list, we're really looking into the core keywords that really represent our psyche, that represent our personality. So again, this is just an example list. But for me, it would be something like intelligence. It would be spiritual. Okay, spiritual, it would be a feeling. Okay, compassion. And wisdom. So I can kind of just look into the core of this and basically say, well, this would basically be my core that would help me come back. It's kind of like we're looking at, how you have like those tournament brackets, you have all these different extensions of players, and it comes down to the finals or the semifinals, and you just have a couple of those little brackets. So basically all we're attempting to do is just create main categories from subcategories. So we're basically just kind of looking at our list and saying, okay, what areas of my thoughts fit into this? We're not having to pay attention to every single little thought we're saying, but we're basically just looking at commonality. We're more so looking at the feelings that we get on a day-to-day basis that can integrate into the categories here. For me, for example, because this is a lot of what I feel. There's even times too where I can be goofy, right? That can happen as well. Goofiness can happen. But again, I'm just looking into how all of this kind of brings me back into my center. So if I'm salivating over a cheeseburger, I don't eat beef, so I know that's not my thought, right? So I can just basically say, okay, thought, you're not mine, you don't belong to me, you're dismissed. Feel free to return back to source. Okay, great. So we're basically just kind of looking into elements of this, and this is where it's best served in meditation. Meditation, we're looking into our energies, we're looking into our void of mind and discovering what thoughts are happening at the current state. When we were doing our meditation earlier, should there have been any particular thoughts, you're acknowledging that those thoughts exist, but you're just kind of keeping them in the background for now, just so you can keep yourself in this inner circle of wave of love. And when you feel very centered with that, now those thoughts can return. They can come back. Okay, thoughts, now I'm ready to hear you out. Let's see what's here, right? So you're basically just being able to determine what thoughts are complementary to you and what aren't. If there's any thoughts that are not complementary, you can dismiss them. You can go ahead and say you're dismissed, you're dismissed. Now, if that particular thought does not want to be dismissed, then that means that you're holding on to it, that there's some element of yourself that is holding on to that thought that you do not deserve and saying, I can't be dismissed. You're corded onto me. You have something in you that is cording onto me as a thought. Okay, well, I'm going to look into that. Right? So it's kind of like looking at holding all these balloons, right? So it's, okay, thought you can go, thought you can go. Oh, wait, this one's tied to my wrist pretty strong. I need to look inside myself to find out where this particular thought belongs, right? So the same thing, that's just how it is, especially with psychics. We're very sensitive, we pick up thought forms, it's what we do. So it's just being able to really give ourselves, because we have that sensitivity, we need to give ourselves that kind of extra time to, spend, if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes per day, on the couch, on the chair, on the bed, doing a meditation, keeping ourselves centered. That's what it's about. You have these abilities. You are sensitive. And so being able to have this kind of sensitivity, having these abilities, requires some maintenance. And you need to caretake that, because people are going to look for you for advice. But more so than that, you need to look into yourself for advice. And in order for that to happen, there needs to be that clarity, because these thought bombardments that come in that have nothing to do with you are basically creating these shields. So they're basically creating certain forms of blocks, preventing this rays of consciousness to come through, to bringing you more clarity. So it's basically just kind of looking into like those kind of little bubble gums type things. You're getting all these clusters of bubbles here, representing thoughts, and here's source transmission trying to come through, and here's the extent of your mind horizon here, and it's just trying to get through these clusters. So when you're able to dismiss a lot of these particular thoughts, well, now the ray can come in a lot more strongly, and that your mind horizon now can now start to receive it. That's basically what's happening. Thoughts can represent barriers. This is what's known as belief systems, right? So we have the idea that we have thought form, that we have belief, and that we have emotion, right? So we're looking at the idea that the very first thing that we receive is thought flow. This is basically when I'm channeling Adronis, for example, it comes in through flow, because I'm not thinking about what's coming through. So it comes through flow. As soon as it's interpreted as voice, as words, it becomes form. Then it represents the idea of manifestation. So being able to say something and then being able to have an effect generated by identity or by meaning. Okay? But when we get into the thought flow, the thought form, when we attach to those particular thought forms, when we have identity happen there, then it transforms itself into belief system. So now we have BSs, so to speak. We have BS, right? And guess what safeguards belief systems? What is it that protects the belief systems from keeping themselves together? Emotion, right? Emotion keeps beliefs together. Okay? They are the guardians of belief systems. This is why we have emotion, period. It's not feeling, it's emotion. Emotion is the one that's basically responsible for keeping the belief system together. Because what happens when you offend a person about their belief system? They get enraged, they get angry, they get very upset with you if you are attempting to challenge their belief. This is exactly what happened to me yesterday when I was doing a challenge session with a client of mine. And he had a lot of preset arrangements about how the universe worked. And Adronis was saying, sorry, that's not how it works that way. And he got mad, right? He was getting pretty upset, because there were a lot of things that were basically being challenged, and he had a lot of cement ideas about how things needed to work, and that it just didn't work that way. That's not how the universe operates. The universe operates through paradox. And this guy has basically had a lot of finite ideas with that, so you could tell that his BS was flaring, right? So there's a lot of emotional states, and Adronis was even explaining exactly how it was happening. Right? You have thought flow, you have thought form, you create identity with that generates belief system, and belief systems are guarded by emotion, right? So this is why when we unleash, when we cry, when we're very tearful, we let all those energies out, that belief system is now becoming a lot more softer, that it's not so hard and rigid and solid. Now it's becoming a lot more softer because we're crying it out, or we're expressing it out through the state of emotion. So basically, again, you're holding space for yourself, and you may want to do this as well. You're feeling bombarded, by psychic development. You're trying to, attempt to understand yourself, and you're getting so frustrated. Just hold the space for yourself and let that emotion out. Go into your bedroom, go into a park, whatever it is, and just have a space that you're by yourself and hold space for yourself. Just ask for, the connections to your spirit guides, connection to source, whatever you want to share. And just being able to allow yourself a safe space, a safe haven to cry these out, or to express those feelings, to express those emotions, and letting them come out. Because as you do that, you soften the belief systems. And now they can start becoming deconstructed. They start becoming liquefied. And so now they're no longer a part of your reality. Your box, in that sense, is now becoming a lot more wider. So again, that's just one particular key of looking into how belief systems are formed, and how you can help to dissolve belief systems by allowing emotion to express itself, and then being more mindful on your feelings, and letting your feelings be ripe in their expression as soon as they come about. Because all emotion is overstacked feeling. Feelings that have not been addressed, feelings that have not been resolved, feelings that have not been acknowledged. And that's emotion. Emotion is just this power surge, this voltage of energy, and it lowers consciousness when we go into those emotional states. Because basically what happens is that if we're in emotion, this becomes our reality rather than all this, right? We're just so centered on the bullseye here of what the emotional theme is in that moment. But it's powerful. It is a very, very powerful energy. I mean, they actually used emotion in the times to where they were using alchemy in all these forms. It's very, very powerful. Sexual energy, in that sense, utilized in that state of intense emotion, is very, very powerful. It's like a lightning bolt, right? That's why emotion is there. It's a huge voltage that hits us, and that becomes our entire reality. We focus on that and say, okay, it's all about this tragedy that's happened to me. I don't want to think about anything else. My whole world stands still when I'm in that deep emotional state. Right? So we just need to let ourselves to open up space, let these emotions out in a good, safe manner for ourselves, and so that we can clear. So this is basically why when you have a good cry, you feel better afterwards. It feels like your body is lighter. It feels like you just had a celestial wash. It's like you went through a cosmic car wash, so to speak. You really cleanse your soul out really well. And this is why it is actually quite important to have a good cry every now and then. Put on some sad music. Put on a sad show. If you need to cry, go ahead and do that. There's a good show that I watch online called Sword Art Online. And it's really well written. It was all talking about this couple and their kid and all that stuff like that. And it's just so beautifully heartfelt. Like I was crying quite a few times with it. And I just felt so good afterwards. Just being able to, cry my eyes out and feel like the beauty of what this show is expressing. And I can feel that coming together in my own life. And it just clears you so much. You feel so much more clear. It's all these balloons of thought clusters are just starting to evacuate as you start to let that energy out. This is for guys especially. Guys, we are just told, you can't cry, don't be a wuss, come on, be a man, stop crying, get up on your own 2 feet and start behaving like a man. Well, to be a man is actually to cry. That's it. We're just as emotional as the women. We're just as intuitive as the women. We truly are. But we just don't realize that. We've been so, hard-coded to be so heavily logical, and that emotions are irrelevant. We've been raised up to become the Borg, right? Where we have so much more to ourselves than being a Vulcan or being a Borg, right? It's just being able to let the particular emotions come through and share themselves as they need to, because they're there for a reason. If you're feeling emotion, it belongs to you. It's something that you have held on to for quite some time. Create your own sacred space and let that emotion be shared. Okay? Any questions on that?
No, sir.
All right. No, sir. All right. That's good, Private. Carry on.
Well, you know, I cry all the time, just really instantly, and it's good. It's just like a cleansing. It's real quick. For me, it's real quick,
Yeah.
and then I laugh.
Absolutely. That's
Then
it.
I move on.
A lot of times when I start crying, I basically say, "Oh my God, this is interesting," you know, like that. That's it. Like I'm fascinated by it. Right? I'm losing it. I actually had to do that for my ex-girlfriend as well too, because she was like in a lot of emotional trauma. And basically, what I did was it was in the middle of her yoga class, and I was sitting in the corner, and I was actually crying out her feelings for her, and she was actually feeling better about that. So I was actually able to connect to a heart-to-heart connection. It's kind of like what I was talking about yesterday, you know, where you're bonding with that other being and seeing them as yourselves, you know, really being able to merge their consciousness and being able to cry out her emotions so that she could stabilize herself, so she could be doing a very good yoga class, and she did a really great one. But that's something that I did as well too, and I was just kind of looking at this and, oh my God, this is fascinating. I was actually more excited when I was crying. It was kind of interesting. It's like I was feeling ambivalence, you know, two irreconcilable emotions about the same thing. So it was quite an experience, and I've never had anything like that before. That was very, very powerful. I basically just said, I was talking to her higher self. I said, higher self, I'll just bring her emotions to me so I can clear them so that she can have a really good class. And that's exactly what happened. And she was like looking at me like this, like when I was in the corner, like bawling my eyes out. She's like, oh, is he okay? Like, should I go over to him? You know? So she was very, very confused at what happened, and I wasn't able to tell her what was happening until after the class. So she was like, I was like feeling I needed to go over to you and think you're okay. I was like, yeah, I'm just crying out your emotions. It's all right. It's like, that's why I felt so light. Very good. Yeah, I mean, that can happen. We certainly have the ability for emotional transference. You know, a lot of people say, oh, that's impossible. You can't do that. It's surface-based emotion. And so you're basically taking all the surface-based emotion out of that person. You're giving yourself up in a form of permission slip to actually cord your energies of your heart to that person's heart, and you're actually serving as a funnel. And that funnel of energy is you're helping to express that person's emotions and bringing them up into source. This requires a very, very deep love connection. You know, and that's what I felt with my ex-girlfriend, was a very deep love connection. And so I was able to do that, and I felt very clear afterwards. I didn't keep any of her energies or thought forms in my mind. It was very, very clear. I felt completely squeaky clean afterwards. But that was very much a very powerful experience, something I've never experienced like that before. But it is possible. It's absolutely possible, because if you're seeing yourself as one, then the whole idea is that all of these energies, because they're thoughts, they don't belong to a soul. Thoughts are props, and so they can be exchanged. They can be fed into the cords and actually being able to be processed. So if you feel that there's a person who's very deeply in pain, who you have a lot of deep love for, this is a judgment call. It's entirely up to you. But you would ask and say, well, maybe there's something I can do to help alleviate your pain a lot more. I'm going to ask for thought transference. I'm going to ask for your higher self to send me these emotions so that I can help purge them, and so that you can have a little bit more of a stable mind. Again, the effect can sometimes be temporary. It just all depends. But you certainly have the ability to function as a vessel to do that. It's very, very powerful. I didn't think it was possible, and I did it. And so it is very possible.
Isn't this what happens, say, at a funeral? When
Yes.
there's so many people there and you don't even know the person, you're there with a friend, and then you start crying because you're just pulling that out of the air, all those thought forms and processing?
And here's the thing as well, too. Funerals actually are detrimental for spirits, mainly because there's so many people that go to the funerals and they're just mourning for the person, saying, please don't go, we wish you were back here. And basically what that does is all of that emotional energy actually keeps them in a bubble. This is why a lot of beings are actually still very much earthbound in cemeteries, because all of this grief from loved ones, from family members, etc., all these people that are mourning this person's death are basically creating this dome of emotional intensity. And we all know the voltage and the power of emotion. These particular spirits at times can't break through that barrier because they're being so emotionally tied down based upon the mourning loss of all these family members, and saying, please don't go, we wish you were still alive, we wish you were still here, please don't leave us behind, I feel abandoned now, etc. So we're basically, in that sense, doing a disservice by mourning a person's death. That's the big thing. This is basically, with people who have lost loved ones, absolutely, it's devastating. You have absolutely every right to share your feelings. But what I usually say to people is that celebrate their life. Really look into how they have impacted you, how they have shared their life with you, how they made you smile, how they really kept the joy in your heart. And when you really just kind of remember them with the joy and the love that they have given you on this planet, that's the true feeling. You're saying, oh my goodness, Jim, Joe, Jenny, you were so great. You had this amazing smile every day. I really enjoyed every single cherishable moment with you on this planet. I want you now to return to Source and have a beautiful, peaceful existence there. I'll join you shortly. I'll be there shortly. This body's not forever. I'll be there in a little bit. You just have fun. You enjoy yourself, and you return to Source. And I'll see you in a little bit. Right? Great. Now that spirit feels fantastic. Now they feel great about themselves. Now they can come back to Source because you're letting them go. And you're not anchoring them, saying, "No, please, please." It's kind of like a little kid that's clinging to their mom and saying, "No, no, no, come on, I want that tour. I don't want you to go on that trip, right?" And you just can't walk. The kid's holding on to you. You're tethered. Right? So the whole key here is being able to celebrate the life of a person, how they impacted you, the memories they gave you, and the blessing that they were in your life, and saying thank you so much for you being here in this life, for you being here a part of me and helping me out. I want you to go back to Source. I want you to go to heaven. I want you to have the most amazing time there. And again, I'll see you soon. Right? That's it. This is exactly. It's even like what Bashar has said as well too. The one person has asked him, what happens when a person dies on your planet? What do you do? Celebrate. We celebrate and realize that we're still in connection with that being. Adronis has said the same thing. That when there's times where beings have left their physical containers and gone back, we bless them. There's no need to mourn any type of loss. There's no need for mourning. Mourning is just the idea of feeling abandoned and attachment. So the whole key here is that when a loved one passes away, sure, it's going to be sad because you will miss their physical presence. Absolutely, that's understandable. But really look into more so about how you can celebrate their life, about how they impacted you, and how all that love was there. That's the key. Okay, great guys. So we're going to go ahead now and move on to, since we basically talked about grounding energies and energy balancing, again looking at the lists and everything, we're going to move on now to reading demos. So let's see if we can go ahead and partner up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so someone will be working with me today. Jason, I'll be working with you today. Okay. So let's have Anne and David work together, and we'll have Celissa and Gail working together as well. Okay, so why don't we start off firstly with David and Anne. David, if you would like to go first for Anne, and then Anne, you can follow up with David. So again, just like we did yesterday, being able just to tune into the energies around you, any thoughts, feelings, visions, etc., coming through for the other person. If you need to take a few moments just to ground yourself and center, go ahead. And David, when you're ready, you're free.
I feel that you are attracting a new friendly relationship that is going to reflect you a lot of your abilities, capabilities, and also that entity is going to present to you like a different path, like different people, different environments for you to work in the things that you prefer. And I feel that it can be from 3 months, 4 months. I feel it's really probable to the time. And I also feel that you are transcending all health barriers. You are becoming more healthy, more rejuvenated. And I feel that you are going to have a lot of surprises this coming year. Different integrations, opportunities to express your passion and to be more joyful. I feel that is really probable to you.
Very good. Anne, would you like to follow up?
Thank you. Well, yes, actually, I'm working on starting a new business. I've had 2 business partners, and we were looking to open a spa. Me, from the healing perspective, one is a corporate partner who wanted to open spa. We were trying to merge. It just was not working. She wanted a high-end luxury spa. I want a healing facility. And it's just someone else has just come into my life that's going to make it possible to incorporate what I'm wanting within the spa I work with now. So it's like a whole new door is open with lots of possibilities, and I'll be able to do what I want, how I want, without anyone, holding me back, because there were so many restrictions with what a high-end luxury spa you can do or can't do, and I do crazy things like chakra balancing where there's lots of frequencies and stuff going on, and they didn't want that there. Mm-hmm. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
No, it's just lovely. Okay, so I'm new at this, but I will say that I know what was said yesterday, and you're wearing that red shirt, but the minute he said to pair with you, all I saw was a huge, huge red Valentine heart just exploding from your heart and filling the whole space. It just came up underneath your chin, out to your shoulders, and so forth. So I don't know if that's your heart chakra really opening, but I get a very strong sense of a love affair, very, very powerfully. And it's just swollen out front and shiny like one of those Mylar balloon, almost. So either that's there, or it's coming in, or whatever. But it's very beautiful, and it just, the minute he said Anne's going to pair with David, I just saw it swell out of your heart and just balloon out like that.
Thank you. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling as well yesterday with David. So there's a new partner coming into his life, and man, you're going to be like on cloud nine and say, "Hi, Brad, oh my God, oh, smile have to be surgically removed from your face, right?" So
it feels, I mean, it's like I can feel. Yeah, it feels very powerful. It's just like this really expansive energy, and very red, a beautiful red.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready for an interview.
Let's see.
All right, great. Thank you, guys. So let's move on to Celissa and Gail. Jason dropped out there for a moment. Hopefully he comes back. But let's move on to Celissa and Gail. Gail, if you want to go ahead and go first with Celissa, and then Celissa, you can follow up.
Hi, Celissa.
Hi, Gail.
Celissa, as soon as he told me that I was going to be connecting with you, I don't know, Ann might be in this too. I just have a funny feeling there's something with a house going on, looking for a new or remodeling. But when I'm getting this message, Ann's coming in the picture.
Well, I am remodeling. I'll be remodeling the spa. It'll be a new home for me.
All right. Well, I
two things at once. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never had that happen before, but then this is definitely for you. Somebody's really testing your patience. A friend or somebody very close to you. They're really interrupting your peace. Take your power back. Take your power back.
Yes. It's better now.
Yeah. I just feel like you're going through a transition, and it kind of reminds me of like when we're on the mountain, everything's great, and when we're in the valley, we don't see the rainbow through the storm. So just know your rainbow is right here. It's coming. I mean, it's not going to take a long time, but I got the chills. So angels are confirming what I believe to be so. So. I mean, like any day now. You're going to be up on that mountain, a high top mountain, so enjoy it.
Exactly.
I will.
Melissa, if you want to follow up on that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, family drama, dear. It's quieting down now. So.
Okay, great. So, Celissa, when you're ready, feel free to share any particular reading with Gail.
Okay. Well, Gail, as we were paired together, I think my microphone is a little screwy, but can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. my connection. Okay, I got dollar signs for you. So you've got money coming your way. Much needed. No clear amount, but you're getting some money coming your way. You've got a dolphin that would like to connect with you. So when you're out on the beach next time, just project your thoughts to just out there, and you might be able to connect with one of the dolphins.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely wants to connect and have a nice conversation with you. That's what I'm picking up on that side. You've got two guides that are transitioning, so I think you're going through some changes. So it's all good. It's all good. And you've got a lot of pink and green around you, so that's love and healing and good stuff.
That's awesome. Brad had told me previous to this one reading that I had with him that I was very connected to dolphins, so that's really cool to know. I live in Florida. It's a little chilly. I did go to the beach yesterday with some friends, so I'll go over today and see what I can do there.
Yes.
But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Great. Excellent. Thank you very much, Alyssa, and thank you, Gail. All right, so Jason, you and I will start. So Jason, I'll go ahead and I'll start with you, and then Jason, you can follow up. So Jason, what I'm getting is it's like Thoth is knocking on your door, right? So there's a feeling, there's a very strong connection with Thoth, again, representing the Atlantean. Not sure if you've read the Emerald Tablets, but there is something there with Thoth that is basically connecting with there. It feels like there's kind of like a research time that's coming in. I feel that there's certain forms of investigations that you want to look into a lot more, and actually what you're going to discover is as you do a lot more of these investigations, you'll see how it is in that sense functioning on par in some way with your own life. So a lot of things that Thoth is saying, it feels like kind of like quite a few ancient masters, a lot of Atlantean energies are coming into your field right now. So it feels like there's a lot with Atlantis that's coming together. So I think maybe looking into Atlantis a lot more. I feel that you've been doing a lot of different, like kind of like magic work, kind of like working with the Maya contained within Atlantis, doing like kind of like a high priesthood kind of energy that's coming through. But I feel that you were working with Thoth. So I feel that there's something there pertaining to Thoth that you may want to look into a little bit more. Again, if you haven't read the Emerald Tablets, I would suggest probably doing that. But something in regards to a kind of a deep investigation period is coming through right now. Something that's really just going to help spark your interest and being able to help you expand a lot more begins with Thoth.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, that's you're right on. I mean, that's why you're the man.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, I have. Yes. That's exactly. It's dead on. I mean, I have the books. I've read some of them. Yeah. I mean, you're literally dead on. In fact, the Emerald Tablets. I mean, I've read a lot of material. I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I've actually been inching into that just the last few days. I've had it for a long time. I have lots of materials. I know how to accumulate all of my intellectual materials well in advance of reading them.
Mm-hmm.
But his materials I have, or Thoth's materials, I've been exposed to previously, and I'm currently going through now. So it's just dead on, 100% right.
I'd also recommend the Thoth tarot cards if you have them. If you don't have them, I would recommend getting them. You just have a very strong high frequency with Thoth. A really deep connection with him. So he is actually able to come through, and he is actually able to channel through you as well too. So you can definitely bring in a lot of intelligent information through Thoth. Like he's very well connected with you.
That's exciting. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and he's quite a nice guy. He's not an asshole, you know, like some people have made him out to be. There's been a lot of different reflections. It's kind of like he has spread his own particular consciousness. Very much similar to how like someone like Jesus has or Buddha has. But basically there's reflection algorithms. There's these little mirrors of him that have basically been spread about saying, oh my God, it was all because of Thoth that, you know, Atlantis fell. It was all because of Thoth that we descended into darkness. No, not really. It was more so thanks to him that a lot of the grids of the planet that have actually been brought online, he was actually attempting to prevent that from happening. He was basically working together in regards to what's known as the Galactic Confederation, not the Galactic Federation of Light, but the Galactic Confederation. He was working together with Argothans, and he was helping to bring this planet into a stability. But he was kind of an assertive gentleman, so to speak. He was very assertive. He was very direct, and he wanted to work together to make sure Earth would receive her upliftment. So he was a very passionate guy. But there are certainly reflections of Thoth that make it seem like he was kind of a jerk and all that. But from what I've been able to scan with Thoth, his energy is actually quite powerful and quite divine.
Well, yeah, it's unbelievably how good this particular reading is, because those are all the thoughts that have been going through my head, including the various explorations of the various reflections of him. I'm aware of many of those reflections. I've been trying to determine the extent to which reflections I should give more value, which would then further determine the extent to which I would channel him. So this is very good to hear, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. My recommendation for you is to focus on the Ankh.
Awesome.
So basically, yeah, looking at the Ankh. So the Ankh. That's basically a symbol that you can use to connect with him. That's kind of like more of a stylish kind of Ankh. It's kind of like it comes down at the tip here like this, and it comes up here like that. So the Ankh would be a good symbol for you to connect with Thoth. Kind of like a golden Ankh, like a nice big one. I think I have to do that there, just like that. So an Ankh that you can use, and that would be a symbol you can use. And you can actually just imagine that Thoth's name is written on that. And you're just basically saying that through my own highest, best nature, through my highest frequency, I wish to communicate with Thoth in the highest light and the highest love. And being able to utilize this particular type of symbol to connect with him.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. You know, I also feel that that's one of the issues that I deal with, is that I have a lot of assertive energy. Even though I'm actually very loving, I have a lot of assertive energy, and that manifests itself sometimes in almost throat chakra issues in trying to determine the degree to which I should express myself. Yes. Because I'm aware of people who have less assertive energy tend to get along better in a way.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that your personality is very similar to the personality of Thoth as well, too. So I think that's why you guys get along so well. He has actually been around you since birth time. So since the time of your birth on the planet, he's been with you. So you're kind of in that sense, not really like a disciple, but you have been in that sense working together, kind of like an understudy, so to speak, of him, quite some time.
Okay, awesome. That's very exciting. Excellent. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go. Everyone, bye. No, I'm just joking. Would you like me to?
Oh yeah, it's up to you, man. If you want to go ahead and follow up, feel free.
Well, you know, again, I still working on my energy reading. I mean, I certainly feel from you this particular day. I feel much more. I feel a lot of positive energy. I feel, again, there's just so many explosion of opportunities for you. Because of the many things that are happening this year, and you're right at the forefront to some extent, and you're able to leverage and take advantage of, frankly, many opportunities that will be coming your way. So I certainly, energetically, I have an understanding intellectually of you and and right now I feel that you're back in your groove and rolling, and it's going to be an incredible year. There's just going to be many different things happening. It's going to be like a tidal wave of opportunity, is what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, even though from an Atlantean standpoint, that might not be the best. Maybe not the best metaphor, but anyway.
Tidal wave of love. Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for that, Jason. All right, guys, great. So we're just going to wrap up the class with any particular questions that we'd like to share in regards to what we discussed today, or anything else that's on anyone's mind. Anything else we want to share?
When we were talking about the energy earlier with grounding and so forth, it hasn't happened in a little while, but about 6 months ago, for a period of about 6 months, anytime I had strong emotions, they were usually negative because I was going through a number of things, moving and different things, actually started blowing things up and shutting things down. And I was annoyed and expressed strong emotions at a friend's house one day that night, and he told me the next day his internet and TV were down the entire day, even though the cable company said it was fine, the neighbors worked. And then a few weeks from that, I was my phone went dead, my computer battery drained, And I left work, I was driving home, couldn't find what I wanted at the store, and I stopped at a stoplight, my car wouldn't start, and I had to have it towed, and the next day they called and they said, what happened? It looked like lightning struck it. The distributor cap was burned out, the spark plugs and all the wiring. So it seems like I have to get into a really strong state over something I'm not happy about. Things will happen, or I'll manifest something. And I don't want to do that. I want to manifest positively and channel the energy positively.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically what happens. There's just some people who have such really strong, because you're so sensitive as well, too. Because, like, I can feel like your energies are all just so fluidic and so powerful with you that your emotions, when it comes to a negative level, so to speak, can be kind of like a self-sabotage. And so a lot of the things that you want to do throughout that day become not possible, simply because there is just this kind of sabotage mentality that happens. And because, again, you have this really strong energy sensitivity, a lot of these things just end up becoming sabotage. So it's actually your own energy that is actually, like, causing the car not to work, or causing the TV to go on the fritz, etc. All these things can definitely happen because, again, you have this very strong, you're a very strong telepath, actually, as well, too. I feel that you're very highly telepathic, and I feel that there's also, in emotional states, you're also very telekinetic. So I think a lot of these particular forms of telekinetic or psychokinetic energies can actually disrupt areas based upon burden, upon the idea of thinking that I gotta go get this done, but I really don't want to do this today, etc., etc. And so all of these things become sabotage. So it's kind of like working in the dream plane as well, too. Your emotions become your reality, right? So if you feel that your emotions are very much out of control, if you're feeling you're just, scattered and everything's going wrong, it's kind of like all these demonized kind of energies come together in the plane and basically showing you reflections about how you're seeing yourself, right? So this is just playing itself out in physical form, is that there can be sabotage that can come through. So yeah, it is just being able to, giving yourself a time out and feeling that if there's times where I feel, aggravated or upset, well, this is going to affect my day. So what can I do in this moment to really lift up my spirits, try and start thinking more positively again, and as that starts to come together, then you'll notice that there'll be a benefit for you rather than a sabotage.
So just center, no particular techniques?
Yeah, let yourself center. I mean, well, you want to bring yourself back into love space, right? So anything that really represents the space of love, think back to some good memories, that maybe if you had a wonderful day yesterday or the day last week, oh yeah, I remember when I did this. This is really, really exciting. All you're attempting to do is re-spark the positive feelings within yourself. Look into the memories that really made you smile. Look into the joy. Maybe there's a family member that you really just love being with, that you love thinking about. Bring them into your mind. It's all just, the techniques really is stimulating the memory of joy and bringing those joyful feelings back into you. Create your list as well, too. Your list in regards to what brings you back into center. That can help as well, too. So there's a lot of different things, but all you're attempting to do is completely re-stimulate the positive feeling, because I'm just saying to myself, if I keep doing this throughout the day, my whole day is going to be sabotaged. So what can I do right now to keep myself in a nice balanced level? Maybe I'll go to a spa. Maybe I'll go for a bath. Maybe I'll talk to a friend. Maybe I'll just spend some time in meditation and think about some positive thoughts, because I understand I'm going through a challenging day, but this is just all part of my energies that's just reminding me to check in with myself so that I can harmonize with them. So it's basically what's known as a check-in time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great, no problem. All right, any other questions? David, do you have a question? Oh, you're this? Okay. All right, you're good. All right. Okay, guys, very good. So if we're good for today, then we'll go ahead and we'll conclude today's class. So we do have another class tomorrow. We will be talking more about mediumship tomorrow as well. And so it should be a very exciting class. Next week we'll be looking a little bit more into psychic and healing development as well, too. So we're going to come back into healing next week. And then, of course, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing more of the Akashic Records. So that will be happening then. But a lot of healing and a lot of psychic work will be happening next week. But feel free to come back tomorrow if you're available, and we're going to be working more on mediumship, and of course a little bit more on psychic development and thought management as well too. So thanks again, guys, and have a great rest of the day, and talk to you guys soon. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.